Hello, hello. What I believe. Okay. This is Khadija. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I was at my mother's and finally I'm driving now.
Okay. In a few minutes, we are starting the program.
It's supposed to be at 5?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. See, I know something I kept saying. Well, I was there yesterday, but there was no way for you to hear me. I heard the
Okay, but
speaker,
yeah, but I really
the,
have.
the, the
Yeah,
doctor that spoke.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I have to go.
Okay, but am I doing something wrong when I came into the program or whatever it was? Did you know I was there?
No, I haven't seen the list.
Okay, well, okay, I'll hang up. But what I was trying to say is I was trying to comment and my voice, you guys couldn't hear me,
Right.
but I heard you. So
Right. So the mute button.
I didn't see all that though. That's just it. There wasn't a mute button. It just opened up and I saw you guys' faces.
Yeah.
And I didn't see where it allowed me. Okay, so I guess I'll tune in a little late because I'm on my way home now.
Awesome. Okay. So if you want to ask a question, if you want to speak, raise your hands. There is a button then you can raise your hands, and then they'll Jared
And
will
then you
unmute.
would unmute me.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Alrighty. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right. What time is it? It is. Right. Okay. Yeah, 50. All right, it looks like we are at one minute. All right, that's 5%. Hello, hello. No one there. It's 5 p.m., I think. Yeah. All right. Okay. It's 5. Hello, hello. Anybody there? Besides me? I only see myself. Hello? Hello, hello. Thank you. And it is 5 p.m. Hello?
Marguerite?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
It has me as a attendee.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I'm not, is Jared on to change it to panelist?
Yes. Let me call him. Okay. Hmm.
Marguerite, he fixed it. Jared,
It's fixed. Okay. 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 It's fixed. It's fixed. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Got it. Okie doke. So there we go. So we'll get started. It's 5 p.m. And so you're in place. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I know you can hear me, and I wish everybody could be unmuted so we could all say good evening. I am so excited to have all of you here today. We have this celebration, a Juneteenth celebration. The name is Freedom, quote unquote. How do we strengthen this? You know, the idea of having freedom, there are different kinds of freedoms. People talk about financial freedom. People talk about uh, freedom from all kinds of things, from Joneses and life in a strict, restricted way. What we're talking today about is, okay, we have freedom, but we have to be able to accept, celebrate, experience, and feel the benefits of being free. It doesn't always happen that way. We came up with this idea to celebrate today, these 3 days, and support our community. So, yesterday we had an incredible event where we talked to Dr. Frida Fisher, and from all the surveys, all the reactions that we got in, everybody enjoyed hearing from her and learned from the message she sent. So that is one thing. Today, so she talked about health. In my opinion, and in most of your opinion also, um, without good health, we cannot appreciate freedom. So that is why that was so important. So today we are talking about money. Financial freedom is day 2. So why is financial freedom so important in the experiencing freedom in general? Well, one metaphor I hear people say is, money is not everything, but it is up there with oxygen. Money makes sure children go to school. Money makes sure that there are hospitals built. Money makes sure that, families can have a roof above their head and food on the table. And it's also important to know in a society like ours, what to do with the money, how to save it, how to make sure there is some of the money left for later day. And that's what we're going to talk about today. When you watch our speaker today, Ronald Pennell, I want you to listen, take notes, and learn as much as you can. Please do not have a feeling that we are selling you anything, because what we want to do is provide you with education, help you craft a strategy to become financially secure, to be financially literate. Products are, a total different. If you don't know what you want or you don't know what is available, offering your product would not be the right thing. So what we are doing today is provide an education, a foundation to make the right choices when that time comes. So please have an open mind. You don't have to you don't have to sign no checks today or fill out no paperwork. Relax. And then tomorrow, we will talk about how to build the most successful business in the world. I know most of you have a good job, quote unquote, earning good money, quote unquote. But does it support your freedom? Does it support the goals you have to maybe travel, to maybe do things for your children, put your children to college? Do you have more money than money and you want to adjust that and have maybe a part-time business? How do you build that so your business doesn't consume you? That's what we'll talk about tomorrow. And here we are. I haven't introduced myself. My name is Marguerite Rensch. I'm a financial services professional with Primerica. I'm fully licensed and lead an agency. We are building, growing, and looking to help as many families become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. With no further ado, I would like you to introduce you to Ronald Pinnell. Most of you may already know him. He's the trainer in our office and very knowledgeable. I'm always impressed with the way Ron takes care of the clients we have. And people call in for information. And again, he is knowledgeable in investments and insurance and all that. And I would like to, I also want to let you know, if you, after Ron is done and you want to ask a question, there is on your panel a button where you can raise your hands. And once you raise your hands, Jared will unmute you, okay? And Jared is the technical person, specialist behind the scenes doing an incredible job. Ron, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? I know that I can't really hear people because of the way it's a webinar, but I want to thank you for spending your time this evening to get on to learn a little bit more about how we help families in the areas of saving and investing money. Thank Marguerite for putting on this incredible event, and Mrs. Saleh, and then our backup person, Jarrett. Thank you so much for your time. Um, let's get started. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. How do we start slideshow? Boom. Okay, so a little bit about me. I was introduced to Primerica in 2011. For me, I'm excited of this incredible opportunity to be able to come into a company not knowing much of anything in the areas of money, but over the course of 10 years, getting the knowledges and the licenses available to me to be able to not only help my own family, but educate other people's families to get in a better situation. We're talking about freedom of Juneteenth. They just made Juneteenth a federal holiday, right? And so it's one thing for the government to give us a day, but it's another thing for us to have complete freedom over our lives and take control over what we can do as people, especially our people who've been through the struggles. We live in a country where we work hard every day, and at the end of life, most people have not much to show for it. And so today we'll have some information that might be able to change those situations. So thank you so much for getting on. So I'm going to start talking about taking control. So there's 7 key steps that we speak of, and the first one, and my favorite one, is to pay yourself first. The second one is adjusting our priorities. See, a lot of times we say, well, I can't do this, or I don't have this, or those excuses come in the way. But there may be some other things that we didn't make the excuse for that might be able to, if we adjusted that, we might be able to do something with it, right? Thinking is big. So I got investment license to help people put their financial home in order. And when we go out to homes, we used to go out to homes before COVID, sit across the kitchen table, kneecap to kneecap, and sometimes you're thinking can be off. Like Marguerite talked about, money don't grow on trees and those kind of things. Those are things that we were taught, maybe our parents said, right? And then adjusting the lifestyle. I don't know about you, but the people that I know, sometimes they're wearing their paycheck and driving their paycheck and living in their paycheck. But when that paycheck stops, I have nothing to show for it but a car note that I have to pay or a mortgage that I have to pay, right? And you can lose these things. Earning additional income is important. Number six is avoiding the credit trap. And number seven is to set goals and actually have a plan. Don't live for day by day. Plan it out. Plan out the next week. Plan out the next 6 months. Plan out the next 5 years of your life. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So I'm going to go ahead and get started. These are some things that you cannot control, right? A lot of times when we're talking about investing, especially as people get closer to retirement, we always seem to talk about Social Security. Social Security is one of those things that we cannot control. I mean, I believe I heard that they've reduced it. I'm 30 years old. So if I'm going to count on Social Security, I'd have to live to 70 just to see a first check, right? Our employer is something that we can't control. See, we live in a day and age where people feel like they're needed. And what happens is an employer can just let us go and they'll go find somebody else, right? Taxes is something we can't control. Inflation is one of those things we cannot control. The milk goes up, eggs goes up, gas going up, the rent is going up. We have no control over these things. We're just living in it, right? Rising cost and also the risk of having one single investment. And we'll talk about that later. But some things that we can control is saving for retirement, maybe earning additional sources of income, ways to reduce our taxes. We can't control taxes, but we can help. We have ways that can help reduce taxes. Maximizing our savings, saving more than we ever saved before, and having the diversity of income choices are all choices that we have that's in our control. Let's see, how do I get to the next slide here? So let's talk about paying yourself first. In America, there's three accounts that you need. Every household or every person need these three fundamental accounts. And tonight is all about information, okay? So to have a complete savings program, most people need three accounts, and they're basic accounts: an emergency fund, a short-term savings account, and a long-term savings account. Emergency fund is in the event that you have let's say you're tired, go out, or maybe you lose your job or lose your income and you need to be able to pay your bills. Normally, we used to say it's 3 to 6 months, but I think we kind of changed that to 6 months to a year to be able to take care of those emergency situations. Short term account. This is one that I love. This is an account that you set up maybe for you want to take your children to Disneyland in the next 5 years, or maybe a down payment on a house. Maybe it's time for you to have a new car. So you've planned for these things. And then the long term is what it means. It's long term. It's for retirement. Retirement is, for most people 20 to 30 years away. And they say, well, I have a 401k at work. If anybody can remember 2008, when there was a crisis, what did most people do? Most people cashed in their long-term savings, their 401ks at work, because that was all they had. They had to make sure the bills were paid. Nobody came and sat down and shared with them this simple concept of how to have the emergency fund and a short-term savings account. Does that make sense? So one of the things I love about investing is I'm not somebody that has a lot of money yet. It's coming. And I know it's coming for you too. But using time and consistency in the market is where we can get mega, mega rich. Or we can have a better lifestyle than we have today. See, investing is not about the dollar amount you have today. It's about having a long-term strategy. So let me give you an example. The blue on this slide stands for birth, at birth. The yellow is for at the age of 16, and the red is at the age of 40. So if you made a one-time investment of $1,000 in your account, wherever the money was at, if the account was earning an average return of 9%, if you would have started at birth, let's say you had a child and you put $1,000 in the account that was earning 9%. If they didn't never touch that money at the age of 67 without adding another dime, that $1,000 would have turned to $406,000. Isn't that powerful? So let's get this straight. $1,000 invested at the birth of your child I may be long dead and gone, but at the age of 67, my son has a chance to have 406,000 without investing another dime. Now, by you looking at the slide, if you wait 16 years and invest $1,000 for your 16-year-old, at the age of 67, they'll have $96,000 if that account earned 9% rate of return. And then, of course, we're looking at this red. If I invested $1,000 at the age of 40, at the age of 67, my measly $1,000 would have only grown to 11,000. This is not about how much money you have. This is about how much time you have, whether it's for your life or a child's life or a grandchild's life. The earlier we get started investing, the better it is for our future. Okay, does that make sense? So here's a simple rule that we use in the form of education. It says, do you know the rule of 72? This is a powerful slide. Is actually one of the reasons why I got involved with this company called Primerica, one of the greatest companies in North America, focused on helping Main Street families, people that's working hard every day. I went to school, I didn't learn this. So it says if you had $10,000 and you put it in an account that earn it's three, we have three accounts on this slide, 3, 6, and 12%, right? If you deposit 10,000 into an account that was paying you 3%, the money would double in 24 years, as you can see on the slide. Um, let's see if I can turn on this pointer. That'll help. Okay, so you got 10,000. Let's say Uncle Sam gave it to you. We all know that's not going to happen. But let's say you had an uncle named Sam. He gave you $10,000. You said, I want to invest it. And you invest this money in an account that's earning you 3% a year. In 24 years, your money would double, right? This is the same slide we did before, the power of time. 48 years later, it would have doubled to 40,000. And so somebody may look at this and say, you know what, that's probably not worth my time. I can save $1,000 a year for 48 years and I still end up with 48,000. You see, most of us have accounts that's not even paying us 3%. And we wonder, why can't we get ahead? Why can't we beat inflation? Why is, when everything going up, my money is not getting me what I used to get? Think back when you used to go to the grocery store years ago, let's say about 10 or 15 years ago, and you could fill up the whole entire basket. And today you go in Safeway, and trust me, if anybody know me, I go to the store probably every other day. But if you go to Safeway today, you can spend $100 on literally 8 items today, right? So let's go back to this. It says 10,000. It was, you put that in an account that was earning 6% a year on average. Every 12 years, your money would double, right? So you would think that 3 goes into 6 2 times. So I should have twice the amount of money, correct? But actually, by you putting that money in an account that's paying 6%, let's do some quick math here. 160,000 divided by 40,000. You made 4 times much the money. You made 4 times more money in an account that's paying you twice as much interest. That's powerful. Now, of course, if we all had the choice, we look at this 12, and I always do this one last because people say, well, how do I get to 12%? Well, I'll tell you where you won't get it, right? If you had 10,000 in this account, your money doubles every 6 years. Now, I don't have to go through each one because we can see it, but let me ask you a question. 48 years later, you got $2.5 million. How many times does 40 go into 2.5 million? I'll give you the answer. Let's see. 2.5 million divided by 40. 2.5 million divided by 40,000. 62 times. So by somebody getting a 12% compared to 3, they made 62 times their money that they would have made if it was in a 3% account. This is not about the money. This is about compounded interest, the most powerful force in the universe. And I'll show another slide about this later, but I just want you to understand that time is everything. Time is important. Starting is important. let's see, go to the next slide. So this is a better example how doubling your interest can quadruple your savings. If you had $100 a month at 4.5% and a one at 9%, these are two different accounts. That if you started at age zero and you're doing $100 a month, that's small. We're not talking about 10,000 anymore. We're talking about $100 a month. Most people can do that. If you put it in an account that was earning 4.5%, it would be 175,000 at the age of 40 versus 9% would be 746,000 at the age of 40. How many people do you know that are young that need to know this information? Or there may be some people on this call that are older, right? And they still haven't gotten started and they may feel like it's too late. It's not too late. No, we couldn't promise you high returns, but I do know for sure that if you get started, you'll be in a better situation than you are today. And that's what we want to talk about. So when we talk about investing, everybody loves to talk about making money. But in order for us to maximize how much money we can save and invest for our future and for our children and for our parents, we have to talk about debt. Now, I won't spend too much time on debt, but debt is like the cancer of America. People committing suicide because they can't figure out a way to get rid of this debt. Most of our debt is because of our eyes. It's not intentional. It's just we see things that we want. We don't have the money, so we got to depend on Visa and Mastercard. I mean, it's very simple, but it's very cancerous also. And I see this guy, he's pushing this rock up the hill, and he's trying not to roll back. But eventually, if he doesn't come up with a plan, this rock is going to crush him. Check this out. The worst debt is revolving debt. I'm not talking about a mortgage or a car note. I'm talking about revolving. I'm talking about credit. So it says, did you know if you made a one-time $3,000 credit card purchase with an 18,000, I'm sorry, with an 18% interest rate with no new purchases, meaning you spent $3,000 and you didn't buy anything else, and you only made the minimum payments, it would take 10 years to pay off what you thought was a $3,000 purchase, but you would end up paying more than $2,000 in credit card interest. So in 10 years, it would have took you 10 years to pay it off at the minimum payment, and you would have ended up paying 2,000 in interest. When I look at it like this is troubling because what do? We spend the $3,000, we pay our minimum payment, then we go spend some more money. And we do the same thing over and over and over, month after month. And before you know it, it'll be a 30-year bill. More interest paid to the lender, to the bank. So what we teach here is bypassing the middleman. We have to do like the bank is doing. In order for them to get ahead, they loan us money, right? And they give us X amount of years or time to pay it, and we pay interest. Well, it's time for our money to start making money. I don't know about you, but I work hard every day. And normally, people that work hard every day, their check ends up going to the bank. And what the bank do is turn around and loan out the money in the forms of mortgages and loans and credit, right? Well, they have two good things going for them. Number one, they have people that are paying their interest, like that last slide. That money is that interest to the bank is called profit. So they're making profit off of the money that they're loaning out, which is our money that they're loaning back out to us. And then they have money that's invested in the global economy. That's called the stock market. And I say the stock market because some people are scared of that word, but it's invested in the stock market. Don't be afraid. Let me tell you why. This is why you shouldn't be afraid of the stock market, because of what's going on today. So we teach the theory of the three-legged stool. And now we're like switched over to retirement, but I want you to still remember, think about the stock market for a second. It says for years, financial experts have used this analogy of the three-legged stool to demonstrate primary sources that provide retirement income. However, those days are gone when most people can't count on a pension. Plus, Social Security today doesn't seem to be secure anymore. Although these three legs used to represent a stable source of income, Not anymore. Simply put, it's up to you to fund your retirement. Check this out. On any stool, you need at least three legs in order to stand. If you got four, you can really put your butt in the seat and sit comfortably, right? So we have Social Security, we have company pension, and we have personal savings. Well, we know today that the statistic is half of America don't even have $1,000 in their savings account. So we can just cross this savings out. Personal savings is gone. Most people today that are working, especially millennials, are working for companies that don't provide pensions. They provide 401k plans, self-funded retirement plans. Um, but the places that do provide pensions today still currently is normally the city, the state, or the county. And even we've seen these places going bankrupt. Have you ever heard of Vallejo, California? And then Social Security is a leg that I'm depending on in retirement, but it doesn't seem